Do you ever wish someone would draw you a map and give you the directions to the career of your dreams? If so, consider this podcast your GPS to a career where you feel strong, fulfilled, and passionate about your work, day in and day out. On this show, I am sharing the tools to help you advocate for your strengths, discover your passions, and learn from folks who transformed their careers for the better. My name is Joyel Crawford, your fairy god mentor, and with my 18 years of experience in HR at a Fortune 50 company and 20 years of coaching and mentoring top leaders, I am thrilled to be your guide on this career journey. Let's get started. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Career View Mirror, where we reflect on the experiences that shape our careers so that you can move forward with more clarity, confidence, and purpose. I'm your host, Joyel Crawford, your fairy god mentor, and today we're talking about something that impacts millions of women professionally, but honestly still doesn't get talked about enough in the workplace, and that's menopause. For many women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, this season of life can collide with some of the biggest moments in their careers. Leadership growth, caregiving responsibilities, entrepreneurship, promotions, burnout, and identity shifts. Today's guest is helping women navigate all of that with more confidence, wellness, and self compassion. Please welcome health, wellness, and menopause coach, Deon Hall-Garriques. Deon, welcome to Career View Mirror.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
I'm happy for you to be here too. We talked about how long it took us to get to this place. We've known each other for quite some time now, before the pandemic, pre-pandemic
Mhm.
times, the before times, as we like to say. Let's start how we always start on Career View Mirror with experiences that inspire you. What experiences inspired you to step into this work of health, wellness, and menopause coaching?
Sure. So it might have been beginning, it was inspired by a family member. It I actually started this as a tribute to a family member, someone who raised me, my aunt, who was
Mhm.
very close to me. And she became ill at a very early age, around 40, and ended up passing away at
Oh,
41.
sorry.
And so I felt very trapped not being able to help because I'm always the helper and have the solutions. I can always figure it out. Everything is figure outable for me. And being unable to be in a position where this person that I truly loved and I wasn't able to do anything, right? And her illness, it was pretty complex. But after she passed, I felt compelled to reach deep down to do something to honor her life.
Mm,
And what I did notice along my self discovery and searching, trying to figure out what is it, like, what do I represent? What is my purpose in life? What is it? Is there anything about me that's unique, that's going to tie into something that would honor her? And I've always loved health and wellness. Like, I didn't even have a name for it, but just being healthy and
mhm.
well always appealed to me. And then I started doing a little research and I found out, like, in the Black community, there is such a lack of education
Mhm.
around wellness, right?
Mhm.
Basic. We're not even getting fancy. Like, menopause came much later, right? But just basic nutrition, movement was lacking, and a lot of women felt that, it was for other women, not for
Right.
them.
Right. We weren't
Yeah,
enough. We weren't good
weren't
enough.
enough.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's out of your reach. And we shouldn't be doing that. That's not our thing. It's not part of our community. And so I kind of delved deeper into that and I said, no, wait a minute, there's a need here. So I started very small and started working with some women informally, like I was this informal coach. And then I discovered that I could make a career out of this. Like, I could go back to school, I could get credentials and all of this stuff, which I did. I went to IIN and got my nutrition certification as a holistic wellness coach and really started to help women in the
Nice.
community. discovered it was such a need. And through that, my coaching kind of evolved. Then my personal experience came into it, and then menopause hit.
And then it was there. Boom.
It was over. It was over. It was a whole nother dynamic. It was a whole nother area that I was entering into, learning again that in our communities, a lot of women were lacking the information. But then beyond that, it was more than our community. Women in general weren't prepared for when this thing hits,
Right.
right? Because it hits like a Mack truck.
Well, when we're younger, we we can't wait for us. We can't wait to get this period. We can't wait. But then we never talk about the when it stops part. That's the thing we never
Yes.
talk about.
Yes, yes. And so when I talk about menopause, I'm talking about the whole transition from perimenopause, they term the whole thing, from perimenopause into the actual menopause, end of the period, 12 months, you're done, and then the postmenopausal years. But the perimenopausal years, which is the 30 plus up, is really when stuff starts to really fall apart.
Right. I can say that present company is included in this conversation.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And we start to experience things as women that we can't label, we can't put a name on. And when it comes to, I work with professional women because it hits them harder, because a lot of them are us collectively, are high performing, we are driven. We don't say no most of the times. We are go, 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 go. We're running the home and the family, and we are the big thing at work, just carrying on, right? And so, because we usually innately have so much stress as a result of just the life we lead, the careers we have,
Mhm, mhm.
this, they go to their doctors like, I'm not feeling like myself. And it's chalked up to stress or burnout,
Mm.
and hardly ever been labeled as, this is the menopausal journey. There are hormonal changes that are going on. When this happens, your estrogen and your progesterone fluctuate, and it creates these big, different, people feel it different ways, a brain fog, um,
Yes.
the weight gain, your mood.
Don't
It
forget the hot
just
flashes.
Oh my God, girl,
And
yes.
insomnia, and oh my gosh.
Totally. All of that. And so women are confused, not knowing, okay, am I sick? How do I deal with this? And I look at women in our career that
Mhm.
we need to view our wellness as a business strategy.
I love
Because
that.
if we don't, it it's going to impact our decision making when we're going through all these symptoms and not being able to label them and manage them appropriately. So we're
Right.
not making good decisions all the time, right?
Mhm.
It affects our focus. It affects just how we interact with others,
Right, right.
And so when we understand what's happening, we're able to deal with it. It's like you have the information, now I know what I need to do
Mhm.
to better handle this. So I love to like talk to women and in their careers, and they're like, I was a high performing, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to wonder what's happening to me. I have a woman who quit her job thinking she was having early onset of dementia.
Oh my gosh.
She up flat out resigned because she said, I cannot manage this job if I can't remember stuff and I keep freezing in meetings and all of this stuff. She resigned. So, but it's real, right? And so if she understood that this is part of my perimenopause, menopausal journey, these are some of the symptoms, and this is what I need to do. Need to speak to my doctor. Do I need to get hormones, or do I need to adjust some aspect of my lifestyle in
Mhm.
order to straighten this thing out? Because it can be fixed.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can get help, and we shouldn't have to suffer. I know that was a long way of answering that question.
No, no, I loved it, and that's what this whole podcast is about, is the long answers to the short
Yeah.
questions. No, this is
Yeah.
exactly what it's about, and I think it's great that you It's a beautiful way to honor the memory of your loved ones, by kind of carrying on this legacy of health and wellness. I think this is great that you're reaching so many people and talking about it and trying to change it, try to be more proactive on the other side. So no, thank you. It was a beautiful origin story. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. One thing I appreciate about the work that you're doing is that you're helping normalize the conversation that many women have been taught to keep private.
Yeah.
Why do you think that menopause is still such a taboo topic?
Taboo.
Don't talk about it in
Yeah.
professional spaces. Like, don't talk about it.
Yeah. I think, and this is my own opinion, others may view this differently. I think because it's fear,
Mhm,
like let's take the workplace, for example. Women don't want to know that they have this thing over their heads
mhm.
that's going to put them behind their counterparts, right? So we tough it out, and we try to keep up, and we don't want to talk about it. We kind of shoo it, right?
Right.
And because it's viewed on as could be a setback in my career,
Or weakness. Yeah.
or weakness,
Yep.
absolutely,
Yep.
or weakness if I talk about it or show any kind of signs that this is happening. And
Mhm.
also, there have been men cases, I'm not saying this happens all the time, where men have made fun of women that are dealing with hot flashes. She's going, like, they're made cynical comments but that women don't feel very good about, and I wouldn't.
Right.
Oh, she's dealing with her changes, or some very off the wall comment.
Insensitive,
Yeah,
awful comments.
exactly. So women keep this stuff very tight to the vest. And even
Mhm.
outside of the work, because that's the workplace, right? But a
Right.
lot of women were raised to not even talk about it.
Well, yeah, like, and definitely in some cultures, h women's health is never discussed until after the woman has passed away. Do
Yeah,
you find out? And sometimes you never find out why
yeah,
they passed on, or what led to
yeah.
that.
Yep.
Oh,
And so we suffer in silence. We
yes.
suffer in silence. And so I am so happy that today it's menopause is having its day,
It
right?
is
We
having its
have
time.
yes, we have people like Oprah.
Mhm,
Lots of celebrities are shining a light on it, so people are
mhm.
starting to become more accepting. And while people are becoming more accepting culturally, there's still so much of a lack of education around it.
Right, right.
Most women enter menopause, perimenopause, 35, without having one bit of information as to what's going to happen.
Right. No
So
clue.
no clue. So we still need to do some work in our schools and our colleges. Our medical professionals need to have a little more education around it. I think nowadays you have some MDs that are certified in menopause coaching and
Mhm,
specializing in menopause for women,
mhm.
but it's not very widespread. So I still have a lot of work to do. And so whatever platform I can get on to kind of just spread that word out there, I'm there
Yes.
because it's so needed.
Yes, it
So, and
yeah.
I'm hoping that by us just keep talking about it, will it won't be such a taboo subject anymore.
Right.
I have been labeled the menopause mama by some people, so I'm like, I'm taking it. Like, I will talk about
Menopause mama, you better
mama.
trademark that. You better register
Yes.
that trademark.
They call me the menopause mama because I'm always talking about menopause, always talking about menopause.
That's so
Yeah.
perfect. I mean, it's a perfect moniker for you.
Mhm.
I wanted to go back to the workplace piece a little bit
Yes.
because, you said that women are most likely to be suffering in silence. What are some of the biggest ways that menopause impact women professionally that people may not realize?
Yeah, and I kinda touched on that in the beginning too.
Mhm.
So, y you you're not thinking straight all the time. So we talked a little bit about the brain fog. The brain fog, as a high performing professional, you have to retain a lot of information. You have to go to a lot of meetings. You got to keep things straight. You got to keep your ducks in a row, right? And
Mhm.
so a lot of times the menopause symptoms will include lack of energy.
Mm.
Now, if you don't have energy and stamina to last 10, 12 hours a day, or at least, let's just say eight, let's just be eight, because by afternoon, you're dousing on 10 cups of coffee just to keep yourself up. So your energy is going to suffer, your stamina is going to suffer, how you show up is going to suffer,
Yeah.
your mood. You may lash out at people for no reason at all in the workplace,
Mhm.
right?
And that doesn't help your leadership presence at all.
No, no. And people start to look at you like, what is wrong with her, right? And
Right.
so it affects your energy, it affects your sleep. Now, if you're not sleeping well at night, you get up and you show up for work, you have no energy. It's like a domino effect, right?
Yep. Yep.
It's
Just one thing after the next.
one thing after another. And so you douse it with more coffee and sugar. And then here comes the weight gain because you also have the stress in there. So you have all of this happening. You have the weight gain. You're unhappy because you're just expanding the stress, the brain fog, all of those things. And when no one is actually being willing to listen to this woman that I am really not well, or she's not sharing that she's not, even when women go to the doctor sometimes, they don't tell the whole story. They don't tell the whole story, they tell part of the story. And so while most times doctors say stress or you burn out,
Yeah.
they still don't tell the whole story. And so this kind of just continues, and some women end up just leaving the workplace.
I can't believe that client that you were
Yeah.
talking about, she resigned from
Yes.
her role because she thought she had dementia. Like, that
Yes.
is
Yes.
wild.
Yes, because the brain fog can be that bad.
What
I mean,
happened to her? What ended up happening to her? I wanna know.
well, actually, she became a coach. She
Oh,
became a coach because she became a fitness instructor, then she became a coach. Actually, she has a coaching practice right now,
oh,
coaching menopause, because then she started to do the work. And she
mm,
figured out what was happening to her. She's way better now than she was there. So it was
thank
a good
goodness.
thing, right? It
Yeah.
worked out. But that's not the story for all women,
No.
right? Because when your bosses are looking at you like you're not performing up to speed here,
Right.
because they don't know that you have all of this other stuff,
Right.
right? So I advise women to find a professional or a coach. Both, I prefer both. I like to work with people who are working with a medical doctor because there are times when they need a little bit more than I
Yes.
am able to give,
Right.
but they could be good partners. But find a professional who can kind of help dissect what you're feeling. And there are things that you can do to help you feel like yourself again, to regain your strength, your energy, and your career and show up like the powerful mama you're supposed to be, right? Or the powerful professional. So my message is to women, if you're feeling off, it's perfectly okay to feel off, but you can't stay there.
Right.
You gotta figure out how to get out of that.
Yeah.
Gotta tell
Yes.
somebody, gotta talk to somebody, right? Because there
Absolutely.
are treatments that can help you for sure.
And would you suggest I do this. I don't know if this is something that you would co-sign off of. I like to take notes because I can't always rely on my memory. So I take notes of the symptoms I'm experiencing and take it with me to my appointments. Is
Yes,
that something that you would suggest is okay?
absolutely, because I don't know if this ever happens to you. You're not feeling well before you make an appointment, you go to the doctor. When you show up, you can't remember anything while you're here.
You feel perfectly fine. Yeah, like, it's just
Yeah.
like, "Why are you here? Did you just pay your copay to just stare at me?"
Yes, exactly. So that is a perfect example. Thanks for sharing that. I think that that's something that, yeah, take note of your symptoms, and also when these things are happening.
Yes.
Which
It is. what did you eat? What were you eating? What was
Exactly.
happening? Like, what was going on? Was
Exactly.
there an ops review coming down the pike?
Exactly. What triggers, like for example, for hot flashes, women who drink more alcohol than they need to, hot flashes are more intense. Eat hot spices. I see some faces there.
This is all making sense now.
Spicy food triggers hot flashes. So you're right. Just take a note of what you're eating and when you're feeling these different symptoms. Like, that way sometimes you can identify that trigger.
Right.
So great point. Thank you.
No, thank you. I think I usually I've been waking up with hot flashes, and I'll just take the cover off, wait for the air conditioning to hit me, and then put the cover back on. It's like this off and on situation that's going on. I probably
Yes.
end up waking my husband up more with these hot flashes. So I thought I was sick, because I thought I had
Mhm.
a fever, but I would take my temperature. I had my thermometer near me, and I took my temperature, and my temperature was not high. And I'm like, well, why do I feel like I have a fever? Oh, so I was at the Lenny Kravitz concert this past weekend, and the gentleman is a very attractive male, and fine
Yes.
specimen of a performer,
Yes.
and
Yes.
he keeps his health and wellness up. And
Mhm.
I thought, oh, maybe it's just because he's so hot, but
Mhm.
it was like a little hotter than normal, like
Yes.
a little
Yes.
hotter than the excitement of looking at Lenny Kravitz on stage, and I'm like, "What's
Yes.
happening?" But I did
Mhm.
have something to drink, and that made
Yes,
sense.
bring the body temperature down a bit, and it will pass. It will pass once you get into menopause, which is where I am right now, which is
Mm.
after, women get there a little differently. The average age in the US is 51.
Oh,
Um,
I just turned 51 this year. Huzzah!
okay, 12 months without a period, you are officially in menopause. Welcome.
Wow. I wonder if I should
12
get a cake.
You know, I don't know if you've heard this, that people are having menopause parties.
What?
Yes. You know how you have like a big 50th
Yes.
party or a big 75? People are having menopause parties.
Oh my gosh. That's wonderful.
It's here. It's
I love
arrived.
it. I love that. I
Yes,
love that.
yes.
That is
It
fabulous.
gets the hot flashes gets easier after, but then there are other things postmenopausal that creeps in, like bone health,
Oh,
heart, cardiovascular issues, other things that we have to take care of because now we're aging. Estrogen is lower. Estrogen
mhm.
has so many functions in our bodies that keeps our bones nice and nimble, and it's kind of the oil between
Yes.
our brains, our
Right.
neurotransmitters, our heart. So when it starts to decline in those post-menopausal years, then you start to have different conditions
Oh my
happening,
gosh.
bone loss.
Ah, these are the things we
But
have to look forward to, ladies.
yes,
This
but
is
if you know you can take action to
yes.
mitigate some of those.
I love
Yes.
that. I love that the fact that it's very empowering. I talk about self-advocacy all the time, and it's so empowering to know that you can have agency over this the change, as they used to
Yes.
call it, over
Yeah.
these changes that are happening in your body. Now, I really want this conversation to leave women feeling empowered and not discouraged. What are some practical strategies, Dion, that women
Yeah.
can start using right now to better support themselves while they're navigating menopause at work?
Yes. So as a wellness coach, my first line of defense is lifestyle. Like
Okay.
that's the first line of defense I offer to all my clients that I work with. And then
Mhm.
the next step would be your doctor, right? If
Okay.
that doesn't help. But right now, just examine, let's start with your movement. Movement is very important to our overall health and well-being. It impacts our hormones. Perimenopause, menopause are primarily driven by our hormones, the hormonal shifts. The more we can do in terms of movement to help that stay in balance, it's part
Mhm.
of the equation, not the whole thing, but daily movement. And I would say for perimenopause, menopausal women, We don't need to do a HIIT workout every day
I know,
because
it was
that
like, do we need
creates
to do the HIIT workout? Do we need to
no.
do, like, the Billy Blanks, you know?
No, no, that's extra cortisol, extra stress, and creates more problems for the hormones. Yes,
Okay,
we need some cardio. Walking is great, some
okay,
running is great, but at this stage, we need to do the strength training. That
okay.
is my number one strength
Yes.
training, stress stretching, like yoga,
Mhm.
is great. So make sure the movement you're getting at least a 30 minutes a day in movement, 5 days a week is good. Then
Okay.
let's look at what you're eating.
Mhm.
We need to
Mhm.
get rid of the processed foods. Your
Mm.
hormones do not like processed stuff. All the white sugar, the carbs, the simple carbs that break down, that raises your glycemic index or your insulin. Just let's come back to basics and let's eat real food,
Yes.
right? Let's just stick to the real foods and minimize. Yes, we can eat our cakes but it shouldn't be an everyday thing.
Right. Just a kind of special
Yes,
occasion typey thing.
yes,
And I wanna piggyback on the food, the real food thing, since we're talking about the workplace. I would say take your lunch away from your desk, like walk away from the desk and actually have a break away from
yes,
work and eat your lunch
yes,
away from the desk
yes,
so that you're getting that movement in and you're disconnecting a little bit so that can, get some work life flow going on there.
yes, yes, absolutely. The breaking that day from
Mhm.
not eating at your desk, and really, I'm guilty of that sometimes, and I have to kind of just drag myself up.
Mhm.
But another good thing when you do that as well, after meals, if you take a quick walk, this is just
Mhm.
a little hack here for your audience. If you take a walk after your meals, that will lower your blood sugar. Your blood sugar won't spike as much and it helps with your controlling your weight. So a walk after
Mhm.
meals is a quick hack.
And
Uh,
the hack on the hack, I'm going to piggyback on your hack. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to do walking while I was on those numerous conference calls, like the endless conference calls. I know that some want you to be on camera, but sometimes I'll be on camera and taking a walk.
Yeah.
But my some of our best thinkers and inventors and poets and creatives have found that by taking a walk every day, it just clears the mind. I used to come up with
Yes.
the best ideas on these conference calls while I was walking or on my treadmill or something so that I could get the blood flow going. I'm telling
Mhm.
you, I was a
Mhm.
genius. People were like,
Yes.
"What?" So,
Yes.
just another hack to the piggyback. If you're taking the walk after lunch, take that conference call while you're walking. I'm telling you, you're gonna look like a rock star, ladies.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree because you're giving your brain a little bit of freedom,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Yes. And then couple more. I would
mhm.
say sleep, and this can be a little bit controversial, right? Because if I can't sleep, how am I supposed to sleep?
Right, yeah, we're
But
supposed to
I'm supposed
sleep.
to sleep. I can't sleep. But even though you can't sleep, start having better sleep hygiene because some women don't have better good sleep hygiene. Okay, we take our phones in our bed.
Mhm.
No. We have a television in our bedroom. No. We sleep with the lights on. No. We gotta create, even though we gotta create an atmosphere of good, better sleep hygiene,
Yeah,
and
you're right.
also having a dedicated and consistent time when we go to bed
Yes.
because we're teaching our system how to behave, how to react. And
Right.
so get rid of those phones. As a matter of fact, don't put the phone right next to your bed because the blue light does impact our ability to sleep. Put it in a drawer, put it somewhere further. Take the
Mhm.
TV out of your bedroom. Try to just come into a nice, diffuse some essential oils or take a nice
Mm,
bath before. Kind of just put yourself in that mood to make sure that you're getting adequate sleep when you wake up. So I think if women are able to just focus on those three things, not to
mhm.
overwhelm, little step at a time, right? I
Yes.
always say take small step, big changes in the result. Small, consistent steps.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And
Yeah.
these are reasonable things. We talk a lot on this podcast, of course, about self advocacy and leadership. How can women advocate? How can they show their ASK, for
Yeah,
themselves professionally during this season without feeling embarrassed or dismissed, like you had talked about earlier
yeah,
in this episode about people saying very hurtful and unkind things? How can women advocate for themselves in a
yeah.
professional way?
Yeah, great question. So I think that starts with the education. We've got to educate the people around us. So
Mhm.
maybe it starts with our HR.
Mm.
Like for example, in one of the companies I work with, they have started having menopausal training. Like they did one last
Oh,
year for Menopause Awareness Month, which is October, and they
okay.
brought in speakers, and they've been having these sporadic um, speakers come in and starting to give education around it. So it's not just a one woman thing, it
Mhm,
needs to be an enterprise effort, right? So
mhm.
maybe I would say start with our ERGs
Mm.
if a woman has those in her organization, or go to your HR. Go
Yep,
straight to your HR and say, listen, this is a legitimate issue in our workplace. Women are being impacted. Can we have a little more education around this?
yep.
Right? I've seen companies place fans in
Ah,
offices for women, have
nice.
water coolers that are more convenient for them, have little rest areas or something. They kind of make it more conducive to
Nice.
women as they're dealing with these things, and introduce different programs for women.
I
You
love
know,
that.
different wellness programs to kind of help. But we got to talk about it first.
Yeah,
Somebody's got to know that you're suffering. So
yes.
let's just talk about it. Let's just start talking about it to raise awareness.
I love that. I love all of this. I wanna zoom out a little bit because this isn't just an individual issue, it's a workplace culture issue too. What do you wish employers and leaders understood better about supporting women through menopause other than the cracking the jokes and,
Yeah, yeah.
going along to get
Um,
along?
right, exactly. I Employers need to understand that this is a legitimate issue that most women are going to deal with.
Mhm.
Our workplace cannot survive without women, and particularly women at that crucial age, right? Between
Mhm.
35 and 55, right? That's where our leaders are.
Mhm. Mhm.
30, maybe even 30,
Mhm.
younger,
Mhm.
55 to going pushing up 160.
Mhm.
That's where the brains, the experience, this is what's driving our organizations. So recognizing that it's a legitimate concern, these women aren't making this stuff up, and be able to put programs or plans or processes in place to
Mhm.
support these women,
Mhm.
being sensitive around what they're going through.
Yep.
And again, I go back to the education and the awareness, because the minute that your organization starts saying this is important, people, including men, start to view it differently.
Right. Right. I think that's great.
Yeah,
Everything, starts at the top. And if this could be a part of the conversation and discussing how it impacts the workplace culture by embracing it, because it's
yeah,
a reality that,
yeah,
huge part of the workforce is experiencing. You've got to kind of
yes,
address it just like you
yes,
would any other workplace culture issue.
yes, because it affects the bottom line.
It does.
And when we talk about it affecting the bottom line, no CEO wants to know that an issue such as this cannot be mitigated or be dealt with, and here it's going to come affecting my bottom line. We can't have that. And so
Right.
when you even position it that way,
There it
it's a
is.
whole, there it is.
Their ears are open.
There it is.
Protecting our
How,
money,
how
our
much you
revenue.
need? How much you need to get this program? You got it, right? Yeah. So it's
It's
the
so true.
positioning also, but it's definitely a legitimate, valid
Mhm.
concern that needs to be dealt with more broadly and more at an enterprise level.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. Thank you for that advice. And to all the leaders and organizations out there, I hope that you're listening to Deon's advice as well. We're coming up on the top of our interview. If you could go back and share one career lesson with your younger self, what would it be?
One career lesson, I would say be prepared for setbacks. They are going to come. It's how we navigate and how we turn the page, because, as they would say, a setback sometimes is a setup for something
Mhm.
bigger and
Mhm.
greater.
Amen.
So I've had setbacks and I looked at it in a negative way, right? But as my friend, the Dr. Wayne Dyer say, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So if
Ooh,
you view setbacks, whatever they are in your career, not as a setback, but as a setup, it's how you're navigating and coming out on the other side.
love
But
that.
you can't see that when you're younger.
Yeah. No, you can't. But that's great advice to give to your younger self and to all of the other people that are listening here. Before we wrap up, I would love to ask this question. What does thriving look like for women in this phase of life?
Thriving, like personally, not to brag, but I feel like I'm thriving. I feel like I am stronger than I was when I was 40 or even younger. Um, it's feeling empowered. It's feeling confident. It's feeling like I can do whatever I want. Because when you do hit that age, you kind of just feel that way. It's feeling good in your body and feeling strong with energy to spare, want to live your life full, whether it's in your professional life or your personal life. You want to just live full on. So
Mhm.
thriving and doing things that you love and that are meaningful.
Oh,
That's what that means to me.
that's beautiful, Dion. This is such an important topic, and thank you so much for helping normalize a topic that impacts so many women personally and professionally. And reminding people that menopause is just not the end of power, ambition, and confidence or leadership. It's just the beginning. So please let everyone know where we can connect with you, learn more about your work, and follow your journey.
Sure, thank you. So my website is balancebeyond40.com. My Instagram handle is balancebeyond40, Facebook Balance Beyond 40. Everything is Balance Beyond 40. And I am also on LinkedIn at
Mhm.
Deon Hall-Garriques.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking
Thank you.
time to be with us and pour into us. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Career View Mirror. If today's conversation resonated with you, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share this episode with someone who needs it, and leave a review. And remember, your career journey deserves care, compassion, and support at every stage of your life. I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to Career View Mirror. If you got value from this episode, please consider leaving a rating and a review for the show on Apple Podcasts, or head on over to Spotify and click 5 stars for our show. We also have a YouTube channel with video versions of our episodes, so subscribe over there for more content. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next episode.